How you guys doing? Let me just set up things here on Instagram as well. So I have two people here. Hello guys, how are you doing? Just about to set up the live on Instagram as well. So let me know how was your Oshilahua TRECENA that we're just finalizing now. Well, good evening, Sanaya. Hello, Edmond. Oh, that's good. Because for some people, this Oshilahua TRECENA tends to be a little bit, I don't know, bitter. But that's good that you had a good one. Just one moment, guys. Just let me just send the link here for people on Instagram. So today we're gonna be talking about the Oshilahua Kame TRECENA, which is, I think, the right word to say is the most fragile TRECENA of all of the 20s. Because I don't know for how long you have been following the calendar, but this one is always tends to be a little bit more fragile, like the heart can be a little bit more soft. Nice, you too. Is here. Yeah, just finalizing here. Just one moment. So man, I feel it. I turned the presses today. Yes, this could be the beginning of this TRECENA that we're gonna be talking right now. It's very common, like that whenever we start just following the calendar, the 13th day of the TRECENA, like the accumulation, we kind of feel like already some glimpses of the always from the next one, like this transition between the TRECENAs. So as we are coming from this Oshlahu TRECENA, there was the culmination of many things arriving, process, sometimes changes. And the funny thing that sometimes we don't even feel like we've done like big changes. Like sometimes we feel like we're just doing like the regular stuff that we do in life, but then out of the sudden we kind of feel like a shift that we don't know like how we got there. And like at least for me it always happens like this. And I know like this TRECENA like is the one that makes like our heart like a little bit soft, because Kame, let me just go live here. Kame talks specifically about that, just being depressed, being like with a heavy heart. So it's no surprise that sometimes we tend to feel this stuff. But maybe as we are going through the analysis of this TRECENA, maybe we can have some insights on how to navigate this TRECENA with more ease and try to not falling down to this road of depression. Because I know that it's a bitter road. Sometimes it's kind of hard, like whenever we give in to these circumstances. sometimes we fall into these dark roads of life, and but there is always a chance that we can navigate with more ease instead of just letting this now just take the worst of us. So let's start our real live here on Instagram. So hello guys from Instagram. If you prefer watching the live on YouTube, the link is on my stories. And for use here already on YouTube, we can start now the analysis. I was trying to analyze this TRECENA, but for me it's a tricky one. Yeah, this one, like, I wouldn't say that's like the easiest one, because it touched some realms that like, if you are not really familiar with the Maya knowledge, you are not really familiar with the Maya philosophy, can be a little bit tricky to analyze. Because I'm about to release a video probably early next year about talking about the Maya principles. So you can understand a little bit of what I'm going to talk about in this TRECENA. Especially when I mention that everything is alive, no matter if it's dead or alive, everything has a way of communication, everything has a way of, aspect that you need to count on. So, like, to understand this one, especially this realm of the Kame, it is necessary a little bit of fundamental of the Maya calendar to see how the Maya really tend to look at the ancestors. So we came from the Oshilahu TRECENA, and I'm just going to turn off the comments so I can elaborate a little bit better with the flow of the analysis. Also here on Instagram. Then after the analysis, I can just jump in and start replying all of your questions. But if you have some questions, just type that, I can see that all later. And so we just finished the Oshilahu TRECENA, the TRECENA. We spoke about these big changes. We spoke about, like, the accumulation of incompleteness that can tell us how we should navigate like this phases of life. We started the past TRECENA with Hunimosh, one water, that was talking about the new injection of force. But remember, every time we talk about the nawal imosh, the water, we always talk about a lot of strength but very little precision. Imosh is connected to the left hand, so in terms that you don't do like things like with the same precision as if you do like with your good hand, in that way. So these imprecisions could accumulate in changes, accumulate in some stuff that got us into those things that you say, oh my gosh, I gotta do this. You feel like overwhelmed by only thinking about this process. So you kind of you kind of feel like a little bit bitter. So this is the type of stuff that the tends to accumulate. So if we start this TRECENA with Hunimosh being that the phase of like the new injection of force, but then you got overwhelmed about so many different things, so many different circumstances, like just like that you cannot like put things in proportion, cannot find the right dosage. This TRECENA of could be the one that makes you bitter, makes you feel like or living with a cynical view of life. That's one of the stuff that this Oshilahu TRECENA can bring. Sometimes makes you reluctant to trying to move on. So for everyone arriving here, if you missed the past analysis, they are all recorded. So you can go back to watch the previous analysis if you want to. And also, if you're just starting to following the Maya calendar, you can also find my playlist where I have a playlist of videos talking about the fundamentals. So the basic Maya, some principles, what is our nawals or TRECENAs. So you you're gonna be, finding like some useful information before following the TRECENA's live here with me. And so this TRECENA, in the bright side, if you are able to handle all of these injectional force in a bright way, you were able to fulfill all the changes that were necessary for you to accumulate that strength. Then in this one can be a TRECENA that will start like with a new development. Because this TRECENA is the Oshilahu Kame, is the 13 death, 13 ancestors. So this is the TRECENA where we talk about the deceased ancestors, like the ones that already passed away, that floats in the breezes of the wind. Remembering the Mayas don't believe in reincarnation. For them, like you only have like one chance, to succeed. But then our Ushlab, something that was talking in the previous analysis, it joins the wind, it joins the realm of the ancestors. It flows around there. But as I was mentioning in the beginning, everything is alive. Everything has a way of communication. It doesn't matter if it's live or dead. It has a way that you can talk. Remember when I was talking the previous TRECENA about the seven care, the seven deer that's referred to the altar? So that's a place where we do like our communication. We do our intermediation with the other realms. So whenever we do that is how we connect to the ancestors. And the last time we saw the ancestors was in the nawal 6 of the TRECENA. When you talk about pondering the support or pondering like what was making us suffer, because that would, the term like how we accumulate this bitterness in the previous TRECENA. But now we are being ruled by Kame. We are being ruled by this now of the death of the ancestors. So this TRECENA is going to be talking about the accumulation of support or the accumulation of suffering. It can be like the rejection, can be frustration, can be oppression in the heart. It can be in many different aspects that this can talk about. Whenever we talk about nawal Kame, referring to the ancestors, and the supportive side, we always need to think about as a soft push, just like when somebody you like that wishes you well, maybe could be your family member, could be your friends, could be anybody maybe you just met and just wishing you well somehow. That's just like even though you're walking alone, you feel like that's you have someone to count on or someone to fall back on that's wishing you well, so you kind of feel supported. So that is the kind of feeling that Kame can provide. It's that soft feeling, but also warm and also comfortable. But at the same time, as we are talking about the most fragile of all of the 20 nawals, the 20 nominal nawals, this also can be the nawal that talks about suffering. Whenever like you care so much, like you devote yourself so much for another, kind of you feel for them. But whenever like you have like so much empathy, for a person in a terrible situation, you're kind of absorbing that for your life, and that sometimes that can represent self-destruction. So that's why Kame suffers. Kame talks about depression. Kame can talk about being like with your heart heavy. So it's a now that can provoke no tears. So, but not just like referring to the ancestors in the matter. It has this connection to the ancestors because they left us. Sometimes we feel like the longing whenever like we lose like a loved one, and like we kind of miss like their physical their contact or just talking to them like directly. And when as time is passing by, like sometimes this feeling just makes our heart growing fonder, and it makes us sometimes, or in sometimes in some difficult situations, we always can call upon them, just to give us strength, just to give us a direction, even though it can be like a blind calling, because we cannot see them, like we cannot listen to them like we used to. But as I mentioned, in our care is a way that we can feed the ancestors, we can feed their ushlab in the wind, we can ask directions, we can pay attention, start paying attention to our dreams to see what they tell us. We start cleaning the bank of memory, like the associations that we do, and start paying attention like or the feeling in how to get out of a difficult situation. So this is the realm of Kame. It's the realm that can bring like a very nice support, but also can bring like a heavy heart that can bring us some tears. And to navigate this Trecena, I like the for not feeling like with the heavy heart, I recommend you to chant, use like the rituals you are able to do your own ways to connect to the ancestors or whatever you're going through. Try to establish this relationship with the wind where you can talk, where you can see them like as the spirit is still alive, they still can get in communication with you. So this works is just how just you get into this habits of talking to them and paying attention to your dreams, and that's a way that you can flow with the now of the ancestors. So hello guys here on Instagram. I'm also here on YouTube, so you try to look a little bit from in one camera to another. So this Trecena, we're gonna be starting with one Ish Valam, one Jaguar. So after all of the process of transformation, all of the process of changes from the previous Trecena, now one Ishvalam represents a new beginning of a development. So if we were able to manage the injectional force, we're able to find stability after everything. Now we can start with a new this new development. Ishvalam, the Jaguar, talks about gestation. The gestation development also has its association with the planet Earth, but not talking about the Mother Earth or the Mother Earth, just like a tenderly mother that is all about love. It is this kind of mother, but it's not just like that. Whenever we talk about Ishvalam, we talk about the aggressive mother, the mother that provides you life, but also is going to be taking the life away from you at the end. It's going to be swallowing you. So it's just like an open mouth. So whenever we talk about this development side of Ishvalam, we talk about this aggressive fertility that it wants to build lots of stuff, it wants to construct lots of stuff, but also it can cancel one another, it can destroy other stuff. So that's the main stuff that we need to pay attention whenever we analyze Ishvalam, the Jaguar. So if we ended up just being like depending on how we deal with the past Trecena, we can start either with this new development, this spring of developing, this spring of fertility, or we can start with this new spring of barrenness. So that's the other side of the now Ishvalam. Whenever things start cancel one another, that you cannot produce anything from that. The same way as if we ended up being reluctant to the changes, to the transformation, the incompleteness the Art Trecena required, now we may experience a little bit of barrenness, like this beginning of this heavy heart that sometimes feels us that we cannot do anything. That feel makes us stagnant after all. It makes us feel like with this pressure in the heart that it feels like it takes us away our ability to produce stuff. And Ishvalam is all about exploring. So if we start in this Trecena, we in this that's called cold side, is a good thing that's to explore different dimensions to try to get away with this. Is a way to explore different stuff that makes your heart happy or that makes you feel fulfilled. Maybe it's trying to think about new stuff to build or getting connection with other stuff that you haven't thought about. As I was mentioned, the ancestors, so talking to the wind or talking to before you go into sleep, try just to talk to your ushlab to receive a message from your dreams. Always pay attention to the now that is entering next. I don't mention very often because I have this stuff on my fundamentals video, that the naws in the Maya calendar, they always start after the sunset. So every time you go to sleep in the evening, you're already talking about the next day. As right now we are already talking about in Hum Ishvalam. I think for most of you who are watching my live, depending on where in the world you are right now, so maybe for some of you it might be still 13 for some of you might be already one Ishvalam already. So always look at the now of that the night you're going to be going to sleep, and talk to them, trying to get messages during your sleep. And this is as I mentioned, this is not about like beliefs. Maya calendar is all about stop beliefs and just try to deal with the facts you get, like only thing that you can rely on. So it's all about being like building like this structure where you can use to analyze the facts, so you can see how you can come up with better solutions. So one Ishvalam talks about this new development, this new way of exploration, and in this new aggressiveness that can, if we are not careful enough, will makes us stay in the dark. So that's what we want to avoid here. Whenever I say the dark, I mean to this dark thoughts, to this dark, heavy heart that the Kame can accumulate. So if you have some rituals that you do whenever you're sad, or maybe chanting, remember chanting, singing, dancing, doing some sports, some stuff that makes your body to move. This is the best way that you can do just to get out of the situation, just provide your body with good chemicals that will make you feel better, and so make you with more peace of mind to resolve anything that is going on. But sometimes there is nothing we can do. Sometimes we just have to suffer. Sometimes we just go and have a good cry. That's a form of cleansing. Sometimes we need to feel the pain so we can bounce back stronger and understanding like life's processes, so we don't have to feel about if something like that happened, appear to your life. And then from one Ishvalam, we're going to move to Keptikin, to ego. The now 2 is a now of the retraction, and the now ego is a now of the sky. If Ishvalam is the earth, Tikin is the sky. So it's the communication from the sky. The rain that falls directly from the sky is also the heat of the sun that goes straight forward to the ground of the earth, providing the earth helping the earth having a more fertile soil. So, but the king, every time we talk about this now, we talk about being straightforward, just having a focus where you can aim, so you can go straight forward. And so this is going to be the calculation of where to go after we start a new development. So we need to calculate where we would like to take this development. So after we start like a new exploration, you need to aim like where should you go. Now 2 are also good days for you to look back on the past TRECENA to see if something went wrong in there. Where did you go lost? What's made you become disturbed? So that's another way to see the day kept ticking. Another way to look that, because ticking can represent like whenever like you can see too much, but you cannot focus in one single place. So you are disturbed, so you're unable to focus. So you need to see like what is taking your attention away from you. Maybe was like the imprecisions of nawal, maybe the accumulation of changes that they started bothering you. So if you try to think what happened in the previous TRECENA, so you can recover your focus, the better. And then from Kep Tikin, we're gonna move to Oshib Ahmak 3, complementarity. Now 3 is a now that opens the path. It is the now that tries to overcome obstacles to flow forward. It's the now also of the flow. And now Ahmak is the now of the cycle of the ancestors. Kamith is one of the 3 nows that talk about the ancestors. Kame talks about the deceased ancestors. Ahmak talks about the cycle of the ancestors, and Hunahpu talks about honoring the ancestors. But Ahmak is the cycle of the newborns, like the continuation of our species. So is the one that are going to be passing through all the knowledge you are carrying through this life. So it gives you a continuation. Remember, in the Mayas don't believe in reincarnation, but the way for you to continue what you are is through like the kids. You're going to be taking part of your Ursula, the Ursula of the partner, just to combine and give birth to something new. And that's what Ahmak talks about, joining the complementary opposites to give birth to something new. So it can even be in business whenever you have an idea and then you have like another person who has like a product. You can combine both to have a business. So you can, or have a product, or you can have a business deal. Or you can even talk about sex whenever sex for procreation. So you like to have a family. This is the now Ahmak. But also Ahmak can enter into this blend of the complementary opposites, can also put some people in blindness. Is where we are likely to commit mistakes. So Ahmak can be the now that we can consider just making an amend for something that they've done because you were in your head in the right place. You were in your mind in the right place. So you can use Ahmak just to go there and say I'm sorry for someone, or just to do like a right for a wrong, for example. So if you realize, if you saw like a mistake that you did in the previous TRECENA, you can use this Oshiba Ahmak to see where everything got wrong, try to put your feet on the floor, get out of this blindness to flow forward. And the same way, Ahmak can also function as a way to open the path with someone that can be the complementary one, the one that can make you feel whole again. So if you're going through a dark area in life, so you can find the complementary one who you make you put your feet on the floor to make you feel more comfortable, just to make you recover your peace of mind. For example, in Maya consultations is the place where I can do that. Whenever someone's feeling down, they're going to be talking to the Ahir, so they can feel better about that. So in this Trasena, Oshiba Hamak is about opening the path to find the right one that will help you, that will give you support to flow forward. No matter if someone is somebody alive or could be an ancestor. It could be opening the path for you to start talking to the ancestors, to create this bond with them, create this communication with them, to start honoring them at the end. That this could be something that can help you just find the light and the brightness in life all back again. And then from Shiba Hamaka, we're gonna move to Kahib Naor for thoughts, for knowledge. Now for is after the water that opens the path, is the water that stops in a dam. It could be like in a pool of water, but it's silently just getting more volume, but it appears that has no movement. So for can talk about what is established. And now Naor talks about organizing, synthesizing, um, about analyzing and organizing thoughts, ideas, your plans, just what makes you, make a decision about something. So for now is about take everything, all of your ideas, everything that you have, just try to organize, just stop to organize your lives, to stop to organize your ideas, to see where everything is going to go, but also to stop also overthinking about everything because overthinking sometimes can inflammate our being. And sometimes when you're overthinking too much about so many different scenarios, about things that we don't have, we put ourselves into dark places in this world. So that what makes us more likely to fall into a depression, because you're gonna be stagnant with some thoughts that seems that doesn't have like a way to escape. That feel that they're just dragging us to the darkness in life. So Kahim Naor could be representing this stagnation of overthinking, of obsession. So, and that's something that we need to bear in mind, that sometimes for us to open the path to flow freely, to let all these nows flow, we need to stop overthinking in the right time. Don't let these dark thoughts hunt us, in these sensible moments, these fragile moments in life. And and then what do we need to do in this? So it's just to put our ideas in place. So just to see like, well, what do we want to achieve, what do we like to explore, or what do we like to develop in this TRECENA, so we can flow forward, and stop things from inflammating in this TRECENA. And then we're gonna move to hop the hash 5 cut. Now 5 is the now that overflows. As I say, that now hop days where things can go sideways. Because after we accumulate enough volume, the now 5 is what overflows, but it's the flow that you cannot contain. Just like when the dam breaks. Now Tihash is the now of the cut and incision. Cut to remove what doesn't serve you anymore. What is being, poison you, just like the inflammation that now can produce, or maybe the aggressiveness that we started in Hunish Falam with the jaguar. So you can cut, the ideas that doesn't fit into a plan. But I also can talking about the medicine. Also talks about like the words that heal and the words that hurt. We can either heal somebody with our words, or can even hurt them, can even put them into depression. Words carry power. So it needs to be aware of that, of what we are going to be talking to the people around us. Because sometimes we don't feel well, sometimes we can end up just like overflowing our words because we just don't feel well, we don't feel like we are with our head straight. So Tihash sometimes can be harsh. So Hop Tihash can be a very powerful day if you like to take for a healing day, for self-care, for you to consult with people that can point you to a right direction, or point to people that can, resolve the inflammation in your thoughts. Can be a very powerful day for healing. So if you have some practices that you tend to do that makes you feel better, makes you feel more whole with your spirit in your Wush lab, it's a great day to do that. Otherwise, if we are just carrying the TRECENA in the dark side, in the colder side, in the colder aspects, this can be like the overflow of the hurt that can make like a huge repercussion in how the suffering of Kame will become. So we need to be aware in this Hop Tihash. And then we're going to move to Wakib Kawuk 6 Shit Lightning. Now 6 is where we ponder the repercussion of the overflow of the now 5. We're going to put things into perspective to see where we go from that. So it's a moment to pause and to reflect, to put things into balance, to see, but not just like balance, just like now 4 stability in 4 legs, but also what your heart feels like and where you would like to go. So try to do this bigger ponderation. So it's not about making a decision, but only about pondering, just putting all of this stuff that is making you heavy, in consideration. So in this TRECENA we have Kawuk, the deep intuition. So it can be a very powerful day to try to listen to what your intuition. If you think about the stuff that are not going in your way, the stuff that is bothering into your life, it can be a good day where you can try to listen to what this light of insights can pop up inside of you. The more we are focused, the more like direct this light can be. 1 second. Yeah, I'm gonna be replying these questions after I finish the analysis. But one thing that we need to bear in mind with this Wakib Kawuk, because every time we talk about deep intuition in Maya, we talk about unsolicited information. It's not about that's something that you can brag on. Oh, I'm a very intuitive person. Oh, I see stuff before they happen. Sometimes it can be true, but whenever it happens, whenever we receive the information, you don't know if that's true or not. So you need to accumulate a little bit of more light, you need to accumulate a little bit of more information to see if you can rely on that intuition or not. Sometimes you cannot, make like harsh decisions just only based on that, even if you have a historic of, getting some stuff right. Because sometimes you can be deadly wrong about this stuff. So we need to, so Wakip Kauk is about pondering our intuition, pondering this stuff, because sometimes, like if we are just too worried about stuff, our intuition is going to be play tricks on us, just can take like a feeling and just make like a mess. It can put us in trouble, can feel us feeling trouble, by feeling that, by sensing that, by suffering beforehand. So as Kame is the now that is the accumulator, the ruler of this TRECENA, we need to be very careful on how we're going to be dealing with our thoughts and how we're going to be dealing with our insights. So try to not suffer, beforehand, and try not to suffer before, have something concrete. So always put that in ponderation, so you do not suffer unnecessarily. Because Kame is as I mentioned, like in one of those videos that I told you that I have in my playlist, like it's the most feminine of all of the nawals. So you can talk about whenever like you feel like your heart is fragile, your heart like you're feeling just you're feeling bad for another person who is in a delicate situation. That sometimes you can get things mixed up with you as well. Sometimes you stop your life because of another person. Of course, whenever we have like a loved one like in bad conditions, we tend to suffer because of that. But if we are not aware that the stronger that we are, like the better we can offer help to the others, or in a different situation, the better we can be like a solid ground for the person, the better. So we need to ponder, how much this intuition, this information we are receiving, we can rely on them. Maybe it's better to just stay a little bit more until we get some more light before we start just putting ourselves in trouble. So it's about pondering what you receive. Just put that into consideration. And I'm not saying to ignore, but just live there, but don't try to be too harsh on yourself. And then we're gonna move to Ukub Hunahpu, 7 Conqueror Sun. Now 7 is the pinnacle of the TRECENA, is the climax, is the hottest part in here. And now Hunahpu, we talk about the battle to overcome darkness, the battle to overcome insecurities or fears. We always use the metaphor of the warrior that has fears and needs to go for the battle and face all those fears. So he needs to face all of these demons. The same way that we can also talk in a more practical way, the seed that goes to the underground of the earth, just like it goes to the ground of the Ishvalan, that is the earth, the fertile ground, it needs to fight to get all of the nutrients to rise up and become a flower and start attracting. So this is gonna be like this highest point here in the TRECENA, where maybe you can see where things tend to accumulate. Maybe you can see like the weight of our insecurities, the weight of our fears, the weight of our concerns that are keeping us in the darkness. So our goal in this TRECENA is just to get the support necessary so we can see the brightness of the sun again, just so we can achieve our goals. We need to overcome, some challenging situations in life. So Kub Hunahpu talks about the final battle to overcome darkness and try to rise up as a flower. So Kame, bringing these emotions, this sensibility in the emotions, can be sometimes like our hardest tasks, because sometimes we are like our biggest enemies after all. The images, how we portray ourselves, how secure we are whenever we are doing this stuff that we like how secure we are whenever we face these downfalls in life, how strong we can be, just to bounce back from this dark situation. Because remember, sometimes we don't know how strong we are until we face like these dark roads of life. I know, like from my case, like what put me into contact with the indigenous traditions was when I faced depression for the first time in my life. I always felt invincible. I always felt like I had a good life. I never could understand like how people would were able to fall into these scenarios. I always felt like I was too strong, for that. I was too positive for this matter, until life proved me wrong, and then I got to face like the I had to beat my tongue, and then that's when I started my journey. That I ended up here right now with mastering the Maya calendar and staying with other indigenous traditions, because I had to find my way to bounce back, to find a way to find the light inside of me over again. Because sometimes like we can never say never to this stuff, but there is always a way that we can find strength in whenever we reach, this deep, like this rock bottom in life. Sometimes we can remember, like, and sometimes we can find strength, in a ways that we cannot even describe with words. And it took me a long time, but still I found it. I survived. So sometimes can be, like the element that will make you, face the battle, this final battle of getting out of this sudden darkness, and rise up again, find the light within you again, like just to recover, as Hunarpu metaphorically said, finding the water inside of yourself or again. But for doing that, we need to face the battle. We need to face the circumstances. So it's better to not escape, because it may seem just to be too scary, or it may be to seem it may seem to be like the easiest situation. So that's what Ukub Hunarpu can talk about, like this final battle of getting out of the darkness. And then from Ukub Hunarpu, we're gonna move to Washakib Imosh, 8 water. That's where the TRECENA returns. So now that the TRECENA is returning, it's just like we're just walking, like this path for the second time over again. So we can do things in a more balanced way. The last time we saw Imosh was in the nawal number 1 of the 13 TRECENA, this TRECENA that we just are finalizing right now. But then it started with a new injection of force, but now this injection of force is coming back stronger, more prepared. So it can be more balanced. So if you started this TRECENA with like a little bit in the boring side of the Ishvalam, unfertile, unable to produce stuff, unable to develop anything, maybe now you can correctly use the right dosage of that injection of force from the battle of that Hutarpu is giving to Imosh. So you can start develop things over again. So you can start just building your confidence over again. Also talking about the Hunarpu is now of honoring the ancestors. Like it's the way that you can do like a symbolic stuff just to honor, like their time here, just to feed their Ushla, to feed like let's talk about their inner soul, let's say like that. Not using like the Catholic ways, but using the feeding their spirits, just honoring, just thanking them, just creating these habits of talking to the wind, offering them, just like as they were here. In the same way that we can empower somebody, like whenever we just send like some, positive vibes, for somebody in a distance. So we can do that with some deceased ancestors. So it's a good thing to start honoring these ancestors. And now with Emoshi, we can correct the dosage if we were able to produce. So now we can inject some force so we can produce over again, just like putting water in the earth so the seed can finally germinate. So maybe you can balance the stuff. So if you already started the TRECENA reproducing and like you are in a good mood, so you can use this Washakib Imosh to check the balance, if the balance is okay, if you are still able to continue with the flow, producing the way that you are happy with, just bring your projects to fruition. So it can be a day where you can just return to give back some more strength if you need to. It's a day to go back and give more strength for that water that can be inside of you. But also like if you're just falling to the dark side of the Tracena, be aware that sometimes you wash, as I mentioned, that's too much power and very little precision, can make you start confusing this stuff. Remember that I told you just to be careful with the insights that you have, what your intuition gets, just pondering stuff. But be careful, because if you're just tripping too much, emosh can make you go paranoid. So that's one thing to bear in mind here, just dealing with nawal emosh. So remember that, just do not take everything for granted in this trasana. Try just to walk with your feet on the floor. Go chanting if you feel sad. Don't try to engage into activities that will make you flow. Just like Washikimosh, the return of the flow, the return of the growth. Just don't try just to give up and just surrender to a dark situation. Just always try to find out your way to bounce back stronger. And then from Washakib Mosh, you're gonna move to Belaer Yek 9 wind. Now 9 is the now of the waters that runs underground. So something that we cannot see is hidden from sight. And now Yek is the now of the insufflation of life. Is the now that fills us with life, that keeps us alive, but also that feeds our spirit, so we can get enthusiastic about stuff, we can get brave about something. It can get us in there, this romantic side of life that can make us enthusiastic. So it can be after this injection of force, what makes us feel alive. And so 9 wind can represent this inner enthusiasm, can be talking about gestating this enthusiasm that can run within us. Like energy comes from movement, the wind is always moving. So if you engage yourself into activities that will make you like move more, you just feel the endorphin in your body, or just make you feel like your ushlab happy, just by singing or chanting, or just participating into rituals to heal what you feel is not wrong over there. So the better you can enhance like this power of the wind inside of you, so we can move, so we can use this energy from inside out. But also, if we are starting the Trecena in a barry mode, like in the colder side, the aggressiveness of the jaguar and the ego being disturbed can, or maybe a hamak walking in darkness, can makes us just being angry from the inside, making us feeling trouble, making us about to explode about with these emotions. So that's something that we try to avoid whenever we analyze and try to deal with stuff in our lives. So be aware with this 9 wind. And also this hidden wind is a way to express where the ancestors tend to flow, because remember, the spirit of the ancestors, they flow with the wind. So they flow over there, so they are there in the air. So we cannot see them, like we cannot touch them, we cannot sometimes feel like that we can really talk to them. But it's important that we just create this, this inner strength, this inner strength with the wind, so we can flow with the ancestors, so we can establish a connection with them. And then from Belaer Yek, we're gonna be moving to Laur Akabal 10 clarity. Now 10 is the convergence, where everything comes together in one single place. We can talk about collaborating with others to come to find like a common goal, or just to arrive to a common result. And Akabal represents the first rays of sun that starts illuminating what is in the dark. So if in this Trecena we are talking about basically just getting out of the darkness that maybe the changes of the previous Trecena brought us, this darkness of the underground of the earth, or this development, and that is accumulating this support or suffering of Kame. So Akabal can represent this first flash of light where you can maybe receive an information. Remember when I told you just to start pondering the intuition that you get, like those insights that you are receiving, that sometimes can drag you down and sometimes can put you up. So maybe in Laur Akabal you can already start just seeing some light in those insights. to see if if they already have like a firm ground where you can step your foot on. And but also it's a way that we can start gestating like what is going on, because the light will come like sooner or later, but we will always come, we will always find its way just to go through, just to rise above the darkness. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer. So in our Tena Kabbalah, we can use like our friends for that. So it can be the convergence of your friends to help you to see the light of day, in the same way that you can also help other people to see the light over a dark situation. So Tena Kabbalah is this convergence of light, where you can start just illuminate what was previous in the dark. Maybe in our Kabbalah is where maybe things can start to make sense while you're feeling that way, what was dragging you down. So it can be a beautiful day for doing this stuff. And it's time to just stop that inflammation, the thoughts that TRECENA could provide. And then from Lauch Akabal, we're going to be moving to Hulauch Kat, 11 burning into ashes, 11 efforts, 11 deaths. 11 is a now of, is another divergence, what makes things disperse, dilute, or even spread. And now Kat is the descending fire, is the now that talks about like when the fire is consuming all of the fuel in there, that can lead you to exhaustion. Just like whenever you're doing so much effort towards to somebody else, or towards to a project that you're devoting yourself, Kat can consume your energy and makes you exhausted, because it represents the sacrifices you do to give life or to empower the other. So as I told you, sometimes in this TRECENA we tend to like have like a very fragile heart, and if we are not careful with that, that can lead to self-destruction. If you're not strong enough to help like the fellow friend or fellow colleague or whatever, like that can consume from you. Remember, like life will always like this will consume you from something. That is always, nothing comes for free. So we need to be aware of that, what is consuming you. So 11 Kat, after you start converging some light, could be a very bright day for you to release what has been consuming you, release what has been exhausting you. Just putting clarity over the situation can make you be more likely to recover like what was consuming you. And also could be also a way where you can pay your debts. For example, if you promised like somebody just to do something, so it can be a good day so you go there and pay your debts. You promised to visit a friend or whatever, it never visit, so it can be a good day for you to go there and pay your debts. You promised to do something with an ancestor, maybe it was a deceased one, so never is too late, so maybe you could go there and pay debts with the ancestors, so you can go back and do your task, go back putting yourself into movement to get out of the situation, putting yourself in the service as well. And then from Hulauch Kat, we're going to be moving to Kablauch Kan, 12 stellar serpents. Now 12 is the hidden balance, and maybe the surprise elements of the TRECENA comes to balance stuff. And now Kan, we talk about the intervention, the fury of the sky. There's something that comes to intervene. Just like you can always associate now Kan as a lawyer that's going to be acting on somebody's behalf. There's something that will make you just like the explosion in the sky that will makes you just pay attention, makes you wake you up. Or in other words, 12 Kan can represent whenever you open your eyes to start seeing beyond the illusion of what is placing you in the darkness. It makes you maybe like that, or unexpected intervention, so you can change the direction before you give up into the darkness that you're going through. So 12 Kan can be this unexpected intervention that life sometimes brings us, that gives us. So, but it's better not letting it just like for the last moment, just like now 12. So the sooner we are able to start seeing what is going wrong, we are able to see what was disturbing us, we are able to find like a ways to overcome our insecurities, so we don't need to wait for the unexpected intervention, or maybe when it arrives maybe it will be already more clear, just like that whenever the thunder illuminates the sky. So it can be a good day to, or maybe the last step, to do this final intervention in order to get out of this suffering situation. And then we move to the final day of the Trecena and the ruler, Oshlahu Kame, 13 ancestors. There we talk about all of the accumulation that we're seeing here. Like if the ancestor, whenever we're talking about suffering and talk about like maybe those shadows or those demons that makes us feeling trapped, inside ourselves, that makes us suffer. It's the same way that as we are trying just to get out of the darkness of the underground, of the Ishvalam, the gestating earth. So everything that started with that development, and then we calculate what is the focus, then to open the path to correct the stuff, or just to find the people that are complementary to us, so we can establish a plan, we can put our ideas in place, and then we can overflow, cutting what no longer serves us or healing us, using this energy to heal us, to establish this connection, to enhance the power of words in Hopti Hash, so we can ponder the insights that we get, so we can make a better decision later on, so we can finally get out of the darkness, win the battle with Hunarpu, so we can return with the injection of force in Imosh, so we can find the correct flow, so we can find our inner strength, or we can find our inner enthusiasm that carries us forward, that keeps us strong with 9 winds, so we can converge light with 10 Akabal, so we can start understanding what was going on, what we have been going through, so we can release what has been consuming us in 11 Kat, so we find this unexpected intervention in Aokan, then we have this accumulation of suffering or support with Kame. It's like this big step of the ancestors. Is a day to honor, just to contemplate the ancestors, not just only the ancestors like from our species, but also the ancestral times that makes us arrive where we are today. So it's a day to thank them, just to create this connection with them, to make light a candle, to thank them maybe for the situations that you are able to go through it and didn't know how you escaped, because sometimes the support comes from unexpected ways, as I was mentioning. And then after this 13 Kame, we're going to be starting getting prepared for the next Trecena, that is going to be the Oshlahu Kawuk, the 13 sheet lightning Trecena, the Trecena of the big intuition. So the bigger we get, like the more we get this connection with the ancestors, through whether for ceremonies or from your rituals, as you can start just following that, the better you start, like you can master this art of understanding these light communications of Kawuk in the next Trecena, and able to being more careful with what we call intuition, and able to sense if that we can trust that or not. So now that we finished the analysis, I'm going to be open here the questions. Let me check here on Instagram. Yeah, I completely forgot looking at the phone of the Instagram, but I hope some of you just jumped here on the YouTube. So if you have any questions, just write, so I have some more minutes here. And if everybody just jump here on Instagram, I'm also replying your questions too. So Mayor, how do you go about implementing the Maya calendar in our Western world? So the first thing, like when I started with the Maya calendar, as I mentioned in the previous Trecena, I started reading more like astrological books like that, were like good to understand like some aspects of some novels, and then like I couldn't find a sense doing that. But the exact way for you to implement the Maya calendar in the Western world is going to be actually in the way that you think, that are going to make you make better decisions to to overcome dark situations, to bring solutions for what you have. It's about, the Maya calendar gives you this power of, analyzing things from different perspectives, so you can think faster in certain ways, so you can see how things, I tend to develop later on, what was the inception of something, and what tends to be the development. There is always like that's kind of tricky to explain right now, because we are limited in time in here, but it's always about, like, you understand, like, the female aspects of situations and the masculine aspects, and what they can give birth to different things, because there is everything has, a beginning, like a feminine beginning and a masculine beginning that gives birth to something. As I was mentioning, whenever we talk about Ishvalam, the jaguar, Tikin, the masculine eagle, and Ahmak, the complementary, he always talks about, combining these complementary opposites. Just like the rain from the sky that is Tikin wets the earth, just like it's the ejaculation from the sky wets the earth. It puts the seed down, so the earth has the fertility and something is born. So it's always this interconnection between the sky and the earth, the feminine and the masculine. The same way, whenever something, for example, somebody tells you something that puts you down, that makes you start just feeling bad about yourself, there was an inception of something. If you don't like find a way just to deal with that can develop into you stay in darkness longer. So the Maya calendar implementing over there is a way that you can think fast over a situation. It's not about like in astrology or like in a horoscope where you can follow, oh, this is the day where you need to go. You can use that for example, if you want to, for productivity, of course you can do that. There are so many other tools that can be very useful for that. But also, you can use the Maya calendar, even if you don't know that, if you just pay attention to the returning of days, you know that every 20 days, the same nominal nawal, for example, jaguar, every 20 days, the jaguar is returning, or every 13 days, a number is returning. So you kind of enter into this mind of the calendar, times is always returning. So it makes easier for you to remember, like, well, what did you develop in the previous jaguar, and so you can measure stuff better. So, but that's something that you cannot just force yourself to, straight away start just getting these benefits. This comes like with the more cycles you go through, the more you start just to get, familiar with the calendar, the more you implement that into yourself, the more automatic that becomes. Then you see that the Maya calendar is a living being, just like you're just meeting like a person that's going to provide you something, it's going to make you continue something that you started, or make you think, how you came up with a solution before. So this little stuff, like these little aspects, makes you being able to make more conscious decisions, not based on superstition, but based on facts and also experience as well. So this is one of the things that you can implement in here. There are so many different other aspects that we can talk about, but like for starting, like for just giving like the first steps, just paying attention to the day by day, just paying attention of what you do, like the highlights that every now brings to you, and then whenever you come back, if you just start making this reflection, just start pondering, or just following this flow of the TRECENA, not just with the TRECENA, but within life. For there is always a moment where you start something, but a moment where you have just to retract, to think about where you like to get as now too. And there is a moment where you need to open the path, or okay, we already decided, or maybe find an obstacle, so you need to overcome the obstacle in a certain way. And then there is a moment that we need to stop a little bit the flow, just like now 4, so you can put things, to organize with what you have instead of accumulating more. There is always a way else. Whenever we have no chance of where to go, we need to overflow. We just need to deal with what life brings to us. Some stuff that we cannot, like sometimes we don't choose. There's now 5 that we just overflow, and then we check later. So, and then we have also moments where you need to ponder about the circumstances, but also where we have this top insight, this bright insight of where we are heading to our life, like where if we are going to the right direction according to what we want, which is the now 7, and also now 8, whenever we need to establish a moment just to observe the patterns, just trying just to keep some stuff in balance. But also have just to look at our inner self. Sometimes we need to look for insight to see how we are, to see it, to check if everything is okay inside of us. There are some times that we need to collaborate with others, just like now 10, just give like one hand to another. Sometimes we need to release stuff that we are carrying. Sometimes it's too much, so we need to find a way just to unload what we are carrying. The same way that we find unexpected, situations that sounds like a miracle in our lives. Some rare moments where things can suddenly come into balance. That sometimes we can, at the time, we don't have like a proper explanation. And also we have like this accumulation of stuff that we keep carrying, the accumulation of our goals. So this is a way that we can mirror like everything that we do in life, like our little steps. So the Maya calendar can work in these situations in many different dimensions. So the more you start following the Maya calendar and paying attention, like you don't have to study a lot or just to keep reading books. Just like whenever you go to the highlands, it's all about just following, making the ceremonies for you to understand how nature works, to understand like the world around you, that we are not like in the top of the consciousness, like that we can use like the word to understand our situation here and understand like that we are just another form of species. That's the Maya calendar, just to understand like our whole in here, just to create purposes, find meanings, just to enjoy our life. Just if we fall, it's a way for us to come back up. So that's how we implement the Maya calendar. It's just to taking care of our being, just paying attention to this stuff. January 21st will be my debut at the White Container Series. Latin America, cheers for me. Rodrigo, best of luck. I always follow the show, so I'll be looking forward to seeing you that. And cheers. Message me on Instagram, and I'm gonna give you good luck from there. But nice to know. So guys, if you have more questions related to that, the TRECENA, or anything related to the Maya calendar, you can ask me. If not, let me check here on Instagram. So Instagram is kind of quiet today, but I just go to give classes. I have a training that I do, like I don't consider it just being like classes, but if you're interested, I have a training that I can explain you like the nawals. I can teach you how to go through day by day according to your needs. It can be specific over your needs. But you can message me on Instagram with more specifics about what you are interested in, then I can work with you. I've done 2 courses so far, but they were week long, very basic. Yeah, the one that I have, like I have one student that I'm doing like the calendar, training. I have some others that are with me for other particular stuff. Some of them they used to want to learn the Maya calendar for business. Some other like are with me because I understand like deeper this realm of pregnancy. Some others to how to do a reading for starting seeing like the family members, and other for understanding the life situations. So, but like the minimum amount is 9 months long. With depends, can be once or twice a week, being like 3 hours long class. But it depends, I can arrange it according to the needs of everybody who reach me. So, do you have any more question? Right on, mate. So, who has more questions? If not, we can close the session. I'm gonna close here on Instagram. Thank you so much. So much. Oh, cheers. Feel free. You're welcome here whenever you want to. Also, if you have any questions, guys, feel free to message me on Instagram. I always love chatting with you. And so, if you don't have any more questions, you can close here. I wish you all a great TRECENA ahead, and I see you all in our next TRECENA analysis. Bye-bye.